The machine is broken, not dramatically broken, just the kind of broken where it takes the dollar and gives nothing back. The guy in front of you hits it twice. Flat palm, not hard, the way you hit something you've already stopped expecting to work. He walks away. You watch him go, then you look at the machine. Your salary is $41,000 a year. After taxes, $2,940 a month. You know that number the way you know your own face in the mirror. Not because you sat down and calculated it, because you live inside it. The break room is on the 3rd floor. The fluorescent light in the corner has been flickering since March. Nobody filed a report. Nobody will. 300 people work in this building. They all need the 215 sugar hit. They all stand in front of that machine like it's some kind of daily ritual, and the machine keeps eating their dollars and giving nothing back. You ask the building manager about it. His name is Ray. Ray has the look of a man who stopped caring about most things sometime around 2019. He shrugs, says the vending company doesn't service accounts this small. You go home. Cold dinner on the stove. You do the math on the back of a receipt. 300 people. 5 days a week. Conservative average of $150 per transaction. That's roughly $4,500 a week, sitting in a building where the current operator can't be bothered to show up. You call 6 vending companies, 5 don't call back. The 6th quote a leasing rate that makes the numbers work. Barely. But they work. You negotiate a placement deal with Ray. 15% of the gross goes to him. Exclusive access goes to you. He agrees in 4 minutes. You don't think he fully understood what he agreed to. You borrow Tommy's pickup on a Saturday. You tell him you're moving furniture. That's partially true. The machine is heavy and awkward. It takes you 40 minutes to unload it alone. The security guard watches the whole thing with the specific expression, people save for things they privately think are a waste of time. You say nothing, you plug it in, you stock it, you drive home. First month, $340 profit after every cost. You stand in the bathroom looking at the number. You think, is this stupid? This feels stupid. But here's the thing, nobody tells you about $340. It's not the money. It's the mechanism. That $340 didn't come from your hours. It didn't come to your attention. It came from a machine in a building while you were somewhere else entirely. That's a different category of money. Most people never feel the difference. You felt it on a Sunday morning when the deposit hit while you were still in bed. You reinvest every cent, not because you're disciplined, because you understand something now that changes the math entirely. $1 reinvested at this stage is worth more than $1 spent on lifestyle. Not slightly more, compounding more. The gap between reinvesting early and upgrading early isn't linear. It's exponential. And the only way to feel that is to leave the money alone long enough to prove it. You leave it alone. Month 4. You find a second building. Medical office complex on the north side. 460 employees. 2 existing machines that haven't been restocked in 11 days. You know because you counted the empty slots through the lobby window on your lunch break. You need $4,000 to get the second location running. New machine, initial stock, and deposit on the placement contract. You walk into your bank on a Tuesday afternoon. The loan officer's name is Brian. Brian has a firm handshake and the careful neutral expression of someone trained to say no without saying no. You explain the business. He listens with the particular quality of listening that isn't really listening. The kind where the decision is already made and the person is just waiting for you to finish. He asks what collateral you have. You tell him, 1 vending machine, placement contract, cash flow statement showing $340 a month net. He looks at the paper. Then he looks back at you. We typically look for more established assets, he says. Real estate, equipment with a clear title, something we can value. A vending machine in a break room apparently is not something they can value. You are not a business owner to Brian. You are a person with a machine in a hallway. You leave without the loan. You save the $4,000 yourself. It takes 7 more weeks. Month 11. Someone breaks into the first machine overnight. $800 gone. The lock is bent, the coin tray is empty. You file a police report on a Thursday morning. Nothing happens. You sit in the parking lot of that building for a while afterward. Engine off, just sitting. You think, maybe Brian was right, maybe this is the part where it stops making sense. You sit there long enough that a security guard comes out and asks if you're okay. You say yes. You drive home. You restock the machine the next morning. You don't know why exactly. You just do. This is the first thing boring businesses teach you about the financial system. The system was built to understand certain categories. Real estate, inventory, receivables. It was not built for a cash-flowing asset sitting on the third floor of a medical building with no deed, no title, no collateral that the bank can touch. If you don't fit the category, the system doesn't see you. Not hostile, not personal, just the wrong shape for the box. The second machine goes in on a Friday. Month 1, $280. Month 2, $310. Month 3, $390. You update the spreadsheet. Total monthly cash flow, $630. You don't tell anyone. Not Tommy, not your parents. Not the coworker who asks every few weeks if the vending thing is still going. You've already learned something that takes most people years. The moment you mention money that isn't yet large enough to be undeniable, something shifts in how people look at you. Not support, not curiosity, a gentle pity dressed up as concern. Is that really worth your time? What happens when the machine breaks? You should just put that money in your 401k. All reasonable questions, all from people who will never build anything that runs without them. You keep the spreadsheet to yourself. You add a third building in month 7. You're still clocking in at the logistics job every morning. Brian at the bank doesn't know. Nobody knows. But what changes at the third machine isn't the cash flow, it's a pattern you're starting to recognize. And once you see it, you can't stop seeing it everywhere. The pattern is this. Boring businesses fail for boring reasons. Not because the market collapsed, not because the product was wrong, because the owner got tired, because their backs hurt, because they wanted Scottsdale, because the account was too small for the vendor to care about. These businesses don't disappear. They just sit there, underserved, undermanaged, generating less than they should, waiting for whoever notices. You start noticing everywhere. The coin-operated car wash on the corner has had a handwritten, temporarily closed sign that's been there for 3 months. The self-storage facility has a website last updated in 2016. The laundromat with no card readers in a neighborhood full of people under 40 who don't carry cash. You develop a simple filter. Is it cash flowing but neglected? Is the owner tired or transitioning? Is the barrier to entry operational, not financial? Is it boring enough that nobody else is competing for it? 4 yeses means you look closer. Month 14, you have 5 machines across 4 buildings. Monthly cash flow, $1,240. Net. After every cost, you're still at the logistics job, still at the same desk, still answering the same emails. You are sitting in a Tuesday morning meeting about quarterly shipping projections. Your manager is talking about route optimization, someone is taking notes, the projector is slightly off-center, and nobody is fixing it. And somewhere across town, 5 machines are making money. Right now. While you sit here, while the projector stays crooked, the meeting isn't different. You are. $1,240 a month is not retirement. It's not freedom. It's not even close to replacing your salary, but it's the proof. The proof that the mechanism works. The proof that you can build something that earns while you sit in a meeting about routes. You reinvest everything. Every dollar back into the next machine, next building, next placement contract. Month 18, 7 machines. Monthly cash flow, $1,810. You run the projection at midnight, not from anxiety, from curiosity. The number in year 5 is not what you expected. You close the laptop, you open it again. You run it twice more because the number seems wrong. It isn't wrong. You get up and make a bowl of cereal. You stand at the kitchen counter, eating it. The apartment is quiet. The number is still there when you go back. Compounding doesn't feel real until it's your own money doing it. Then it feels like something you should have understood much earlier. But what happens next, at the point where the cash flow starts to mean something real? That's where the game changes in a way nobody talks about. You are 31 years old. Net cash flow across 11 machines, $3,200 a month. You bought a laundromat 6 months ago. A man named Roy sold it to you for $43,000 cash. His back hurt. His wife wanted Scottsdale. He needed someone who could close fast and not ask complicated questions. You were that person. You upgraded 3 machines, installed card readers because Roy had been cash only since 1987 and was losing every customer under 40 who didn't carry cash. Hired a manager named Sandra who had run a dry cleaner for 12 years and knew everything about everything. Month 3. One washer floods overnight. Sandra calls at 6:13 in the morning. Water damage in the back corner. $1,200 gone before breakfast. You drive there in sweatpants. Roy had mentioned that machine once, said it had been giving trouble. You didn't replace it when you had the chance. You stand in the back corner, looking at the wet floor. Sandra hands you a mop without saying anything. You take it. That stays with you longer than the repair bill. Revenue up 31% by month 7. Not 38. 31. Because month 3 costs you. Combined monthly cash flow, $5,800. And nobody in your life knows. Not Tommy. Not your parents. Not the people at the logistics job who still see you as the guy with the vending side hustle. Not Brian at the bank. You drive a 2017 Honda CR-V with 87,000 miles on it. Coffee stain on the passenger seat from last winter. You have not cleaned it. At networking events, when people ask what you drive, and you say Honda CR-V, you watch them recalibrate. A small mental adjustment. Downgrading their estimate of you. That downgrade is not an insult, it is protection. The moment people know what you have, you stop being a person to them. You become a resource. Their cousin's food truck idea becomes urgent. Their underwater car loan becomes a conversation. Their brother-in-law's opportunity somehow finds its way to your number. The Honda CR-V keeps those conversations from starting. But there is a cost to invisibility that the spreadsheet doesn't capture. You are at dinner with your college friends on a Saturday night. Someone is complaining about their landlord raising rent again. Someone else is talking about how they can't afford to buy in this market. You listen, you nod, you say things like, "Yeah, that's brutal. You own 2 buildings. You are your own landlord." You do not say this. There is a specific kind of silence that comes from knowing things you can't say in the room you're sitting in. Not loneliness exactly. Just a gap. A distance that opens quietly. Not because you're better, because your context has changed and theirs hasn't. Your best friend since college, Danny, tells you over drinks that he just needs one break. Just one thing to go his way. He's been saying that for 4 years. You've been listening for 4 years. You know with complete certainty that you could solve most of his financial stress with a number that would take you 30 seconds to transfer. You don't transfer it. Not from coldness, from something harder to explain. You gave money once to someone who wasn't ready for it. Your college roommate, $22,000. The money was gone in 11 months. The friendship came back 2 years later. Different. Quieter. With something in it that never fully healed. Money doesn't fix preparation. It accelerates whatever is already there. So instead, you spend 3 Saturday mornings at Danny's kitchen table. His laptop is open. You build him a cash flow spreadsheet. You talk about it like you read about it somewhere. 2 weeks later, he texts you. "Man, I didn't realize how much was just leaking out." You read that text standing in a parking lot. You don't reply immediately. You just stand there for a moment. Then you type back. "Yeah, that's the whole thing." What comes next is the level most people never reach. Not because of money. Because of what happens the first time the bank calls you. You are 34 years old. The portfolio looks like this. 11 vending machines across 7 buildings. 2 laundromats. 1 parking lot acquired through a municipal tax lien process. You found reading city notices online at 10:45 on a Wednesday night with a bowl of cereal in your lap. 1 small self-storage facility outside Columbus. You bought from a retired electrician named Frank, who said across a Panera table, "I just want someone to take care of my place." You said, "I will." You meant it. Combined monthly cash flow, $14,300. Net worth is somewhere north of $800,000. It exists in spreadsheets and quarterly reports from Carol. Carol is not an exclamation point person. You respect that about her. Then one morning your phone rings. Number you don't recognize. Columbus area code. It's a banker. Not Brian. Someone new. A woman named Patricia, relationship manager. She says the bank has been reviewing your deposit patterns. She'd love to schedule a time to meet. You sit with that for a second. The same institution that couldn't see past Brian's collateral checklist 8 years ago is now calling you first. You didn't change. The number did. You meet Patricia on a Thursday. Corner office. Real coffee, not the lobby kind. She uses the word portfolio. Not vending machines, not laundromats. Portfolio. The assets are the same. The language is completely different. She offers a business line of credit, $250,000, 4.8%. No collateral requirement beyond the business cash flow itself. You think about Brian. $4,000, 7 weeks of saving. A careful neutral expression of someone whose decision was already made. You sign the paperwork. Patricia sends a handwritten note afterward. 3 sentences. She looks forward to growing alongside you. You put it in a drawer, not on the fridge. You know the difference between warmth and strategy. Patricia is good at her job. That's not the same thing as caring about yours. The access is real though. The rate is real. The speed is real. What changes at this level isn't the money, it's the friction. Every door that used to require 7 weeks of saving and a Tuesday afternoon of being quietly declined now opens in a phone call. The system didn't become fair. You became useful to it. Those are not the same thing. But only one of them changes your options. You use $80,000 of the credit line to acquire 2 more parking lots and a second self-storage unit. Then you make one bad call, a small printing company. Owner retiring. Numbers looked clean on paper. Stable revenue, 3 anchor clients, consistent margins for 6 years. You move fast because the deal feels right, and you've learned to trust the pattern. This time the pattern is wrong. 6 months in, the largest anchor client, 41% of total revenue, quietly moves its contract to a competitor. No warning, no conversation. You find out on a Tuesday when Sandra forwards you an email she wasn't supposed to see. You sit with the spreadsheet for a long time that night. The numbers still work if you replace the client within 90 days. They don't work if you don't. You have 90 days. You spend the next 11 weeks doing the kind of work you thought you had left behind. Cold calls, pitch meetings, driving to industrial parks in the rain to shake hands with operations managers who weren't expecting you. Week 9, nothing. Week 10, a small contract, not enough. Week 11, a mid-sized manufacturer downtown signs a 6-month trial. You break even by month 8. Not a disaster, but 4 months of nights and weekends to get back to zero. You sit with that for a while. Not the money, the instinct. You moved fast because the pattern felt familiar. You didn't look hard enough at client concentration. One client, 41%. That's not a business. That's a dependency dressed up as a business. You add client concentration to the filter. Right below boring. Right below is neglected. Right below the operational barrier. The printing company teaches you more than the parking lot did. Not because it went well, because it almost didn't. You are in a Kroger, condiments aisle, genuinely deliberating between 2 pasta sauces because one is $2.79 and the other is $3.49, and you can't remember which one you liked more last time. Your phone buzzes. Email from Carol. Subject line Q3 summary. You open it standing next to the pasta sauce. Net asset value across all holdings. $952,000. You read it twice. You put the phone in your pocket. You buy both sauces. You go home. You make dinner. The $3.49 sauce is in fact better. You sit on your balcony. You drink a beer that costs $1.39 from a 6-pack you bought on Tuesday. No one calls. No one knows. The city moves the same way it always moves. There is something in your chest that isn't pride and isn't relief. It's closer to recognition. A long, slow nod at yourself across a very large distance of time. You think about a 26-year-old sitting in a parking lot with the engine off, thinking maybe Brian was right, then you wash the pan, and you go to bed. Here is what $950,000 actually is. Not a destination, a threshold. The assets start doing things you didn't ask them to do. The self-storage facility appreciates 14% in 18 months because a distribution center opens 2 miles north. You didn't plan that. You were just positioned. The parking lot you bought for $4,400 through a city lien notice is now generating $4,800 a month because a new apartment complex opened on the adjacent block. You didn't plan that either. This is what the filter buys you that intelligence alone cannot. You don't need to predict the future. You need to be in the right locations when the future arrives. Patient enough to wait. Present when everyone else moved on to something shinier. You are sitting in your apartment on a Sunday evening. Unit 2B. You own the building. Your name on the mailbox looks like every other name on every other mailbox. Mrs. Patterson in 4A stops you in the hallway. Retired school teacher, always smells faintly of lavender. She tells you the kitchen faucet has been dripping for a week. The landlord hasn't responded to her email. You nod. You apologize on behalf of the landlord. You call your property manager from inside the elevator. The plumber is there by noon. That evening, she slides a note under your door. Neat handwriting on a small card. For the nice young man in 2B, thank you for listening. The world needs more of that. You put it on the fridge. It has been there for 2 years. The portfolio keeps growing. The note stays on the fridge. Both things are true at the same time. And at this level, you start to understand that the most important things come in pairs like that. The number and the thing the number can't touch. The access and the distance it creates. The freedom and the silence that come with it. You are 41 years old. The portfolio: 31 vending machines, 4 laundromats, 6 parking lots, 3 self-storage facilities, 1 commercial cleaning company, 1 HVAC servicing business you bought from a man named Gerald who said across a folding table, "Promise me you'll keep the guys." You said every one of them. You kept every one of them. Combined monthly cash flow, $41,000. Net worth above $4 million. The exact number is known to 3 people. You, Carol, and an estate attorney named David, who speaks in carefully measured sentences and never uses 2 words when one will do. You have not worked a conventional day in 2 years. You still work. You think about the portfolio constantly. You drive past locations on Saturday mornings. You read city permit filings on Wednesday nights. But you don't have to be anywhere at any specific time. You don't have a manager. You don't have a meeting that starts at 9, regardless of whether you slept. That specific freedom cannot be purchased at any level below this one. Only built, slowly, quietly, over the years of boring Saturdays and Wednesday nights and Tuesday mornings when you drove past something broken that everyone else walked past. You go away for 11 days in October. Small cabin outside Bend, Oregon. You bring the book you've been on page 112 of for 3 months. You get to page 209. While you are gone, the deposits arrive like they always do. Patient, indifferent, reliable. You sit on the porch on the 7th morning. Coffee, cold air, pines. Not happiness exactly. Not pride. Something more like rightness. Danny texts sometimes. Still the same job. Still waiting for the break. You text back. You ask about his kids. You mean it. The distance between your lives is something neither of you mentions. Not from discomfort. From love. Because some distances are just true. And naming them doesn't close them. What you built exists in the gap between the categories that the system understands. Assets nobody competed for. Locations nobody watched. Businesses nobody thought were worth a second look. That gap is still there. It always is. It just looks different every time. A broken machine in a break room. A cash-only laundromat is losing customers under 40. A parking lot buried in a city notice at 10:45 on a Wednesday night. A sign with a faded letter in the window of a car wash between a Quick Trip and a Kroger. The gap doesn't announce itself, it just sits there, waiting for whoever is paying attention. Somewhere right now, someone is standing in a break room on the 3rd floor of an office building. The machine just ate their dollar. They hit it twice. Flat palm. They walk away. They get a coffee from the kitchen. They go back to their desk. They answer their emails. The machine stays there. Broken. Patient. Most people walk past broken things. A few stop and ask, why is nobody fixing this? Those are the ones whose lives usually change first.